So before we moved here to southern Sweden and started building this big studio complex thing, we lived in Berlin for 10 years. And when we first moved to Berlin, I brought with me my 1885 Bechstein upright piano. And pretty quickly after we arrived in Berlin, I rented a little room where I could set up a kind of mini studio thing. It was on the 4th floor of a building called Akud, which was one of the last original East German artist buildings in the center of Berlin. Really cool place back then. But my room was on the 4th floor, and I paid some German piano removers to get my Bechstein upright up onto the 4th floor, and two guys showed up, and I thought, okay, I mean, they were huge guys, huge big German guys with no necks, you know, those kind of guys. And I thought, well, they're going to carry the piano up to the 4th floor. But then one of them produced this enormous leather strap and wrapped it around the piano and basically put on the piano like a backpack and walked up 4 flights of stairs, or 8 flights of stairs with it, and the other guy was just kind of steering him. So it was just one guy that carried this like 300 odd kilo piano up the stairs. Anyway, to cut to the chase, when it got upstairs and when it was sort of in its new home in Berlin, pretty quickly this little weird clicking sound started on when I would push a key. There would be this weird little kind of clicky sound, which just drove me crazy, and it was sort of unrecordable, and I was just gutted. I thought, shit, the piano's ruined. Anyway, luckily I found a guy who had a piano workshop very close by the studio, a guy called Marcus, who it turns out is like one of the top guys in Germany, I think, certainly for building harpsichords and piano restoration. Yeah, he's just a total Meister, as they would say in Germany. And he told me how to fix this clicking sound, which was basically tiny little, the little hinge which hinges the hammer as it swings and hits the string. That little hinge has a tiny little piece of leather inside, which is just the right thickness and just the right friction to make the travel of this hammer be absolutely perfect. It hits the string, bounces back really nicely, fast enough, slow enough, not too fast, not too slow. And the humidity or air pressure or whatever it was, probably the humidity in Berlin compared to in London, where I had bought the piano, was different enough that this little tiny bit of leather inside this hinge had shrunk a tiny bit, and these little hinges were now like, I think we're talking like hundredths of a millimeter loose, or looser than they were in London, and so therefore they started clicking. So he told me how to fix it, and I spent a while doing it. And while I was doing that, I also reshaped the hammers, because he also pointed out that the hammers on the piano were a little flat, they were a little worn out. I mean, this was like a 130 odd year old piano, and kind of brought the whole thing back to life. It never sounded better. It's still like totally my favorite piano. Anyway, 3-4 weeks ago here in Sweden, I found a free piano on Facebook Marketplace. It's an Urbel und Lechleiter. It's a German piano, another German piano from 1907. It's actually the brand that made pianos for the Pope back then, which I did a bit of research. There's not too much about them, but I did do my research. It's made of solid oak. It's a total beast. It sounds amazing, but the hammers are a little bit flat. And so today what I'm going to do is try and remember back 12 years from when I was first in Berlin and doing the Bechstein. I'm going to try and remember how to reshape the hammers. I think it's not so difficult, but maybe it'll be useful to you guys at some point if you ever need to reshape the hammers on a piano. And I'm also going to show you around what we've been up to this week with this big studio art centre build. We've done lots of things. It's all been a little bit sort of like little things, except for Ferdy has built a little apartment above the cafe. All right, so let's get going and yeah, see what happens. Okay, here it is. It is just so beautiful. All of this kind of thing. Yeah, so at the moment it's really nice, but it does have a very kind of mellow, kind of muffled sound. And I don't know if you can see, I'll take this out in a second, but yeah, the hammers are pretty worn. Let me figure out how to take this action out. So there's these beautiful brass knob things here, really lovely. One on each end. That should free up at least the top of the action. It should now move. Okay, there's a couple of screws. Okay. That all comes out. Now, okay, my Bechstein was a bit different to this, different design. Looking at this now, I think I might even be able to just do this in situ without taking this all to pieces. When I did the Bechstein, I had to take each set of hammers out to do this. But I think on this one, I think I might be able to get away with just leaving them in here, which could make this quite a quick job. Hopefully I don't break anything, but they are supported here on this felt bed. So, I mean, I think they're almost as kind of secure as they can be. And I'm just going to be sanding like this, and I can support each hammer as I go. Okay. Nice. The dampers also, I don't know, they look okay. Yeah, I guess dampers don't wear out in the same way as hammers do. Maybe I'll call Marcus and ask him. But yeah, so I seem to remember that I was using very high grit sandpaper last time. I have a packet here of different grades of wet and dry. So maybe I'll experiment a little bit quickly and see how that goes, because obviously you want to be very careful and gentle with these. So yeah, I will experiment a bit and then figure out which seems to be working. Okay, let's try 320. I do vaguely remember something about you go from both sides, and then you'll just get these little pieces of felt that you just pick off, and you're just sort of coming in from both sides, because I suppose what you really want is, you still want the point of impact to be right on the top, in line with the hammer shank, so that as the hammer hits the string, there's a definite, clear point of impact. And also the head, the angle on the top, it shouldn't lean to one side, it should be like really flat, parallel with the rest of the hammer. I'm just going to experiment with this for a bit and see how I go. Difficult to go the other way. I'm just wondering, what I might do is get a piece of wood that I can slip in here and clamp down, which will stop the hammers lifting up. It will kind of pin them down and make it hopefully a little easier for me to go on the upstroke like that. These dampers are in the way. Could I take out that whole damper bar? I wonder. They're kind of connected. I think that would be a pain in the arse to do that. Yeah, alright, I'm going to look for a piece of wood to put in. 140 will do it. Maybe a couple of little clamps in there. No, okay. That'll have to do. That's good enough. Let's keep on trying this. Much better. So now I can go upwards without the hammers moving. Maybe I can go a little coarser than 320. Do I even have anything coarser than 320? One issue is that because they're all at this angle, they're not kind of straight on, you know. I have to be careful that I don't start rounding them off. I really have to just work on one at a time. And I wonder if maybe a nail, like emery board, is going to be better for doing this. I'm going to go and see if I have a nail emery board, because then I can just do one at a time. Yeah, or maybe I have to make an emery board. Just glue some of this on. It's quite nice, this stuff. I think I need to make something that I can work on each hammer individually. I think it'll be a better result. Okay, I found one of these. It's definitely quite rough on the black side. Let's just see. What do I need to do with this? I need to kind of lift this. If I could tilt this up. I know. I'll put it on the edge of the table. Okay, gonna have to change camera position and everything. That's better. It's quite rough. I'm going to try the smoother side. I'm always trying to do this kind of movement so I keep it a nice sort of teardrop shape. These ones are just much more mellow. It needs tuning. I think it's worth doing this. Actually, the rough side's doing a pretty good job, but it's just a bit too thick for this thing. Yeah, if I could make this a bit thinner, it would be really perfect. I'm going to go and try and cut it down. Okay, I've trimmed it down. Maybe this is going to be better. Nice. Very nice. That's perfect. One hammer at a time. Yeah, the rough side's actually pretty good. Gets rid of a lot of material pretty quickly. Looking pretty good, I think. I mean, if you compare them, as it gets up here, it gets pretty gnarly, which would make sense, because this is going to be the most used bit of the keyboard. So, yeah, I will just keep going with this. I guess this is going to take me a couple of hours. I'll just keep on going, and then I'll update you when I think I've got somewhere. and then I'll put it back on the piano and we can see how it sounds. And then I need to tune the piano. I don't know if I have time to do that today, but maybe. All right, I'll check in with you again soon. Okay, quick update. I now have a better method. Basically, I just lift each hammer with my left hand and then I file it with the right hand. Just going along like that. It's actually way faster. I think these are looking really good, these ones. Nice teardrop shape. I think the real key is that you want to make sure that the striking point is as kind of round and, you know, parabolic as possible. You just want to get rid of that flat zone. Maybe there is still a bit of a flat zone on some of those. I might go back over some of them. I think you want a nice kind of rounded tip. Anyway, I'm going to keep going. Okay, something else which is really important with this, if I can get the angle right, is that the tops are really as flat as possible to the string surface. And I'm doing that by using this bar here as a reference. As I'm doing them, I'm just making sure that I leave the surface really parallel with that line there. So then I'll know that with a bit of luck, these will strike the strings face on, like flat. That one's a little bit wonky. That one's good. So this one needs a little bit more off of this side here. Okay, so one thing I've noticed is that these top hammers, I think, are the original ones because there's a dark brown core there, whereas these ones have a red, kind of blood red core. So I think this top, like nearly octave, is the original hammers possibly. And I think I'm going to just stop here because the top's already pretty bright anyway. And I've kind of feathered it in so that I've kind of done less and less as I go up, so that it sort of just blends into that top octave. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm gonna have a quick go at this bottom section here again. I mean, that does look red, so maybe, but again, I might just leave the very bottom, but I'll see how it goes. But yeah, I feel like I'm getting quite close now. Nice. All right, sorry, I took a phone call then and put this all back together without really thinking. But yes, I think that is a big difference. Let's see. I don't know if any of this is coming out, by the way, on the video, the sound of the piano, but it was quite muffled before. Let's see if it's any different now. Definitely different. Here sounds really better. Just around here starts getting a bit more soft. I know what else you can do. You can dissolve ping pong balls in some kind of solvent, and then you can kind of impregnate the hammers to brighten them up a little bit. So maybe one day I might kind of dope these bottom ones a bit to get them a bit brighter. But maybe when it's in tune, it'll all work. How do you do it on these? Guess you start like that. Right, let's start on this one. Okay, that's it. Not perfect, but pretty good. Some of these are kind of louder than the others, which I think you're supposed to actually prick. I'll go and get a pin. You can kind of soften some of the hammers. Is that called voicing the piano? Maybe. Fluff the hammer a bit. Okay, not perfect, but better than it was. And I think because we live out in the middle of nowhere, I think I may need to be the piano tuner in this place. So yeah, I'm going to keep practicing. Right, so I'm going to go upstairs now, where Elsa is just finishing off hoovering out the ceiling in the hayloft, and it looks amazing. There's still 2 birds' nests, 2 swallows' nests left, which I don't know why she didn't take those out, but in a way it's kind of funny to have just these little reminders. Elsa, should we not leave the birds' nests in there as a sort of part of the original kind of fabric of this place? What do you think? I mean, it doesn't look clean, I know, but maybe we could varnish them. Should we varnish them?
Paint them.
Paint them hot pink.
Like a sculpture.
Yeah.
Maybe you put a little clay bird in there, a little...
Maybe, yeah, a little light, a little We could put a little light inside them. Okay, we're going to varnish them. We're going to varnish them and put a little light inside them. Okay, all right, onwards.
Varnish beds.
So yeah, Ferdy's pretty much finished now up here. Oh, it's so cozy. I just want to sleep in here tonight. It's amazing. So yeah, we've just spent like 10 minutes discussing the layout of this room up here, which I think we're going to end up with 2 double beds, one on either side at the end. That seems to make the most sense, because I think predominantly this is going to be used for a band that's recording here with us, and I think the size of the room means that it would be kind of cool if we could have like a kitchenette and a few chairs and a sofa. So this could be like a little self-contained mini apartment thing. And 2 double beds seems to be the most economical use of the space. But we could also have a sofa bed over there, a little kind of kitchen area here. So yeah, like a sink and a microwave, a fridge, that sort of thing. Just so that a band staying here, potentially there's a sofa bed for 6 people. So up to 6 people could sleep in here. They could make themselves breakfast with the little kitchen area there, and then in that corner is loads of room for storage. Yeah, I mean, it'll be cozy. Yeah, we'll see next week. Oh yeah, and then the bathroom, which is all ready to go. The floor's down, really solid. So yeah, shower in the corner there. Yeah, shower there. Toilet there, sink there. Out here, another little sofa zone, nice and cozy. Look up at the stars. Can't really see anything out of there right now. Where are we, Ferdy? What's going on? Yeah, so if we look down here, what did I do today? Well, I have completely finished that floor now, and today I kind of ground it all, so it's all smooth, ready for tiling at some point. Elsa painted the first coat on the box that goes round, which I did earlier in the week. There's the shelf at the end. Can you see the shelf there? So yeah, next week I think might be the last week. Maybe not, I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, I think by the end of next week, this room will be looking pretty clean and, yeah, done to some degree. So next week I will put in lights up here. The lights on the side there, which are just waiting to be wired in. I'll do the wiring in here, in this room. So basically all this stuff could be wired next week with a bit of luck. Ferdy will plasterboard and insulate all these walls, and yeah, hopefully with a bit of luck there's even time left over to do some more stuff in the studio, because that is so close. Yeah, a bit of more work on the door seals and stuff. It's actually quite hard to film this kind of stage because we're basically just zipping from one thing to another, and a lot of it isn't like super kind of interesting or easy to film. Anyway, stop making excuses, Robbie. Yeah, here I am in the kitchen. Oh, it's such a cool space. Right, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next week. So yeah, until then, look after each other. Lots of love. Please subscribe, and yeah, goodbye.